definitely got some water, but it's showing signs of some sediment in the bottom. Okay, so let's get the hose. So first, what I usually like to do is when I get the hose running in there is I like to unplug the main pump and just let the backup one run for a little bit, about twice, just to make sure it's working properly and make sure it'll keep them dry. If something happens like a power outage or a pump failure, we'll change out the alarm battery and the alarm puck. But we want to make sure it's working, so definitely see it's working, it's pumping out good. They got a new battery, so we'll go ahead and plug the main pump back in, get that pump running a couple times. See, it's already charging back up the battery after those 2 uses, so it's fast charging itself. If I put this around it, if this wasn't here, it'd be like spraying water everywhere. Yeah. Little coupler on there, just like a little, like adjustable one. And I loosened it up because that's what holds this pipe on with this pipe. And if I loosen it up and take it off, then I can actually take the pump out. And then once I get the pump out, then I can, you know, clean the pump off, clean out the breather holes, clean off the stand. Just make sure the pump looks good, because if it looks good, it works good. Oh, another good reason to take the pump out is because there's this grommet here, kind of the same as this one right here, but over the time it rattles and it becomes loose. As you can see, I can turn it with my finger, and I could probably, honestly, almost pull this out with my hand. So taking the pump out, getting this tightened down, just make sure everything holds together, because last thing we want is for the check valve to get loose and fall off, and then we're just spraying water in the bottom of the container and we're just recycling. So our job is to get the water out, not let it stay in. Right here, it's got a breather hole right here. What these are good for is when the pump pushes water out, when it pushes water out here, it also pushes water out right here, which keeps it from airlocking, because once it airlocks, it just doesn't allow it to pull water up out of the bottom anymore. So having these breather holes here cleared helps out with keeping that from happening. All right. And then since we got the container out and we got the stand here just floating around, you can see that it's pretty dirty. It's been sucking up a bunch of sediment from the bottom of the container, which is normal, because digging around the perimeter of the basement, it's gonna break up some dirt along the bottom, and then it just gets, whenever water comes in, it just carries a little bit of sediment and dirt with it when it runs down the track. And then having us out every year just helps us maintain keeping the pump container clean, keeping the debris out of there, because sucking up all the mud and stuff on these pumps can really hurt its life expectancy. So our job is to make sure that the stuff we install lasts as long as it can. All right, we go, like new. Perfect, just like that. Got the stand back on. Set this guy back in here. Now that's all tightened down and cleaned up and wiped off, and get it back in its spot. I'll go ahead and put this guy back on. Stuff hooked back up, we'll plug everything back together and test it back out a couple more times to make sure. All right, plug the ultra sump back in, and then we'll run the hose in there again one more time. So I put this down and it already beeped, so I put it on hold. It's about 58% humidity. Normally what we like to do is check the humidity levels, make sure they're not above 60% range. Where we like to have it at is about 55%. But yeah, 58, wintertime, a little high. So just looking for, you know, mold, mildew, any cracks in the foundation, any spots where it looks like it's a new leak coming through, you know, just things that, you know, would stick out to the eye that would be a cause of concern for like the customer or homeowner. So on this side, it actually looks like we did a wall system. Also looking for, like, you know, leaky windows, old windows that don't work. Maybe they are starting to rot out or leak through, or, you know, they show air gaps or something. All right, on the next one.